Fall is a beautiful time of year. The leaves are changing to bright colors and the temperatures are cool and crisp, making for perfect hiking weather. But as the temps get cooler, you're going to want a different set of gear than you would bring on a summer hike. Let's talk about what to bring on a fall hike or backpacking trip to keep you warm and safe. And the most important thing that most people don't know about. For me, I found that a layering system is the ideal loadout for fall hiking. This way I can be cool if I want to or warm if I want to, not get too sweaty. I can mix and match layers to have my perfect setup for whatever conditions I'm in. I'm a big fan of hiking in shorts, so I always bring my Patagonia 5-inch Strider Pro running shorts. I can typically hike in them down to about 50 degrees if it's sunny and I keep moving. When it gets colder than that, or I like to go slower and take my time, maybe sit around at a summit or at camp, I bring a pair of water-resistant hiking pants. That way it helps to block the wind and insulate my legs a little bit more. A great option if you're not looking to bring a pair of shorts and a pair of pants is zip-off pants, where you can get a pair of pants that zip the bottom half off and turn into shorts. There are many brands that make pants like that where they're water-resistant and breathable. I would recommend getting a pair of those, and the zip-off is great for maybe varied temperatures where it's going to be cool in the morning and then it's going to warm up through the day, so you can zip them off when the sun comes out or when it heats up. Unless it's unseasonably warm, I'll typically wear my Smartwool long sleeve merino wool shirt. I believe it's the 150, which is just the weight of the merino wool. I've used that from about 45 degrees at the colder end to about 70 degrees where I'm not too hot in it, even in direct sunlight. The great thing about merino wool is, unlike many other types of wool, it's not super itchy, so you can wear it and you're not going to have itchy skin. It's also antimicrobial, so it takes a lot longer to stink than a synthetic shirt would. When it's a little bit cooler, or maybe I'm not moving as quickly, not going uphill, not working as hard, I'll typically wear one of two layers. I'll either wear my rain jacket or my alpaca wool hoodie. They're both great for different reasons. The rain jacket I can use as a windbreaker to help me when I'm on a summit or above tree line, or I can use it as a rain jacket, so when it starts to rain on me, I can throw that on to stay dry and warm. If I'm looking for something a little bit more comfortable than the rain jacket, I typically go with my Appalachian Gear Company alpaca hoodie. It's going to tend to be a little bit more breathable and a little bit more comfortable. I like to throw that on when I'm going down a long descent, as I'm cooling off, not using as much energy as I did going uphill. The good thing about the hoodie is that I can actually throw it under the rain jacket as well, so I can use all three layers, my long sleeve shirt, the hoodie, and the rain jacket, all as one. That way if it's extra cold or rainy, I can still be dry and warm at the same time. And the last thing I'll bring for my upper body is my puffy jacket. I have an Enlightened Equipment Torrid Apex. It's a synthetic down jacket. It weighs about half a pound. I'll throw that in my bag. It's a great thing if I'm just sitting around, maybe I want to stop at a summit, eat lunch, or sitting around camp. I can throw that on. It's also good because with all of those layers, especially the puffy, it's kind of, almost acts as a sleeping bag. I can, if I needed to, if the situation were to arise, I could spend the night on the side of a mountain out in the woods. Not very comfortably, but I'd be okay. The puffy is also great to have when backpacking because I like to sleep in a quilt, which doesn't have the back like a sleeping bag or the hood. So I can throw the puffy on and that will act as the hood and it will keep my upper body warm while my legs are nice and toasty from the quilt. It's really important that your rain jacket can have all these layers underneath, including the puffy, so that way, if it's really cold and starts to rain, you can throw everything on, or if you need to spend the night, you get stuck out in the mountains, you have that as a hard shell to block some of the wind and keep the warmth in with all your layers underneath. Now, one of my favorite pieces of gear, and I think it's super underrated, that I bring with me on every fall hike is a thin pair of gloves. So I have some really thin, just cheap merino wool gloves from Amazon, and they're great. Just throw those on. It helps keep your hands warm. As your body gets cold, it's going to start to pull blood away from your extremities, which is your hands, ears, your toes, your feet, stuff like that. That'll start to get cold quicker as it's trying to keep the vital organs on the inside of your body, in the middle, your heart and stuff like that, warm. So that's why I love a thin pair of gloves. Throw those on, can keep your hands warm, and then you don't have to worry about that. It's also a good idea to have a hat. Many of my layers have a hood, so sometimes I'll leave it at home, but it's nice to have. You do lose about 40 to 45% of your body heat through your head and your neck, so to have a hat to try and keep some of that in can help regulate your entire body temperature. So that can be very useful. Just even if you're a little bit cold, you could have just your t-shirt on and throw a hat on, and it could help warm you right up. It's also great because, like I was saying before, Your ears are one of the first things that are going to get cold, especially when you're in high winds. So having something that can go over them to help protect it is going to be great. So I still wear Altra trail runners when fall hiking. They're not very warm, and like many trail runners, they're not waterproof. That's why I always bring an extra pair of socks with me. I prefer Darn Tough, but anything, wool or synthetic will work. You don't want anything cotton, including any of your layers on your body, unless you're only using them to sleep in and you know you're going to be dry. There's a saying that cotton kills. That's because cotton, when it gets wet, loses all insulating property and actually will draw the heat out of you, where wool or synthetic tend to keep some of their insulating properties and can still insulate you, not as much, but they won't pull heat away from you like cotton will. I like to have a little bit longer of a sock, generally a crew length or something you'd see with someone wearing boots. In the summer, I tend to wear ankle socks with my trail runners. I just think it's a little bit more comfortable. When fall hiking, I wear crew length socks to cover the exposed skin between my shoe and my pants when I'm hiking. When your pants lift up, when you step up on something, it can help block the wind and keep your legs warmer. Even though wool and synthetic materials can help keep you warm even when they're wet, they're going to have a lot less insulating property than if they were dry. That's why one of the biggest mistakes that people make, and it's not often talked about, is the importance of sweat management. So if you're too sweaty, you're going to soak through your layers and you're going to get them wet, and they're not going to insulate you as well as if you had dry layers. It's very important to have a proper layering system where you can take layers off and add them as you need. And it's very important as well to make sure you are doing that, taking them off and putting them on. You don't want to get too hot. You want to find the perfect balance of not cold, but not sweating too much. If you sweat through your layers and you get to the summit and you're sitting on a summit that's, especially an exposed summit with high winds, that wind and that cold is just going to kick in so quickly. Your body temperature is going to drop very quickly with wet layers opposed to dry layers. So it's very important to properly manage the amount of sweat and moisture that your clothing is taking in. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing a full breakdown of everything I bring with me on a fall day hike and backpacking trip. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.